Namaste beautiful yogis. Today I'm doing a 10-minute only Tabata interval workout, which includes 4 exercises. The first one is squat forward and spin squat to push-up. The second is push-up to side plank and push-up to opposite side plank. The third is elevated bicycles, and the fourth is bilateral kettlebell swings, one-arm kettlebell swings. I'm gonna begin with some light stretching in the beginning of the class, and I will include yoga stretching on the floor at the end. Here I'm just reaching side to side, stretching the obliques, swinging the arms back and forth, side to side to warm up the spine. Inhale, lifting over the head. Exhale, forward bend. And let's bring the hands behind us, clasping the fingers, pressing the arms away from us to soften the shoulders. Bringing the knee into the chest one at a time. A few circles with the arms, warming up the shoulders. A few more swings. I love swings because they warm up the spine. And side stretches. So I'm gonna set up my timer and begin with squats back and forth to push up. Let's begin. Hip width apart squats, jumping using the length of the mat to jump forward, to spin and jump to the back of the mat into push up. The next exercise is push up to side plank. Keeping the hips lifted and the belly in, and preparing for elevated bicycles. Keeping the natural curve in the lower back is essential. If you cannot keep your chest open and the lower back with natural curve, you can do those on the floor. And preparing for the last one, which is kettlebell swings. Right arm first, keeping the back straight at all times, and really pushing the kettlebell forward with the hips. Your arm is doing nothing here, it's just following the inertia from the hips. And preparing for the opposite arm, straight back, snapping the hips forward. I love kettlebell swinging. I was reading an article about how beneficial they can be to rewriting the nervous system in individuals that have problems with nerve damage. And let's go to the first exercise. Jump squat to push up. Spin, jump, and again jump squat to push up. Going as quickly as you can, maintaining alignment. keeping the knees back. And let's prepare for push-up to side plank. Keeping the hips lifted. Inside plank. And elevated bicycles or optional bicycles. Keeping the chest open and the lower back strong. Bringing opposite elbow to knee. Right, and let's prepare for the kettlebell swings. Kettlebell swings can be done with no weight. And changing sides. Really focus on the hips and on exhalation at the top of the rep. As you swing, exhale. The next one is jump squats to push up. Stay light on your feet here. Try to land softly on your feet so that your feet don't make a lot of noise. That way you know you're soft on your joints. And preparing for the next exercise, push-ups to side planks. Really focusing on the core here when you're in side plank, lifting the hips. And preparing for elevated bicycles. Chest open, lower back curve, active. It's really easy to round your back here and especially to let the lower back go here. So if you cannot maintain this, go on the floor and do regular bicycles. And preparing for the next exercise with the kettlebell swings. Focusing on the hips and on the exhalations. You're not moving your arm, your hips are actually moving your arm. Keep the back flat at all times, lower back curve active. When done properly, kettlebell swings can strengthen the core and the lower back. Switching sides. Going into a small squat here, you don't have to go deep. You just want to keep your lower back curve present at all times. And squat jumps to push up. and push up to side planks. Rest, elevated bicycles, resting and preparing for kettlebell swings. Snapping the hips forward. I'm using a 15-pound kettlebell and this was pretty much enough. And changing sides. Keep the kettlebell starting position between your feet or just slightly behind your feet. Focusing on the breath here, exhalations as you push forward. And that is it. We're done with the interval part. We can continue with side bend stretches. Tuck the tailbone under. And let's come down onto all fours and bring the right arm underneath. Threading the arm underneath and bringing the back of the shoulder and the back of the head on the floor. Switching over to the opposite side. Softening the shoulder into the floor. Inhale, coming out of this. Walk your hands to the front of your mat and sit back without moving your hands back with you so that you can stretch your spine. Extended puppy pose. Breathe into your back. Inhale, coming back up, and we're going to come into a seated. Feet are around the hips, and you can just sit here onto your heels or between your heels, or you can lay all the way back into hero pose, depending on your flexibility here. Listen to your body. To come out of it, you can come onto your elbows and then all the way up. Coming onto all fours for cat-cow. Elongating the spine, looking up, rounding the back, looking towards the navel. Exhale. Inhale. Elongating. Exhale, rounding. Inhale. Come back to neutral. And come into a seated, legs in front of you. We're gonna bend the left knee on the floor and the right knee up. And let's bring the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Look behind you into a seated twist. Keep your chest open and your shoulders down, hips down. Exhale, soften your belly. A great pose to work on the rotation of your spine and also a great detoxing pose, great weight loss pose. Metabolism boosting pose, one of my favorite poses really. It can rebalance the spine. Unclasping behind, this is optional. From here, you can go into an arm balance or just continue with the twist. Split side crow. Side crow with the legs extended, back to split, and back down into the twist. Here, stacking the knees on top of each other, cow face pose. Right knee is on top of the left knee, right elbow by the ear, left elbow by the rib cage. Either hold this clasp behind you longer or you can bend forward and breathe into your hips. This is a great hip opener. And let's switch sides. Left knee coming up, right knee on the floor. Bring the right arm up and across, bringing the elbow on the outside of the left knee. Look behind you and focus on your exhalations. As you exhale, soften the belly, go deeper. As you inhale, lengthen the spine, open the chest. And you can clasp behind if you're familiar with this pose, or just stay in the previous stage of the pose. It just allows you to go a little deeper, provided you can clasp your hands. Either stay here, or you can prepare for an arm balance, or you can just work on an arm balance here. You can just stay at the first stage of the arm balance where one leg is still on the floor. You can go into side crow, or you can work with the variations I'm working with. Great. And let's go to cow face, stacking the knees on top of each other, heels by the hips. You can clasp behind. Either hold that clasp to open the shoulders, or you can bend forward. Breathe into your hips. All of these are meant to be somewhat of a quick stretching sequence, forward bend, so we can get hip openers and hamstring stretches if we're in a rush and we don't have time. We can hold them for a little shorter period of time, and it's still better than skipping practice that day. And coming into butterfly pose. Feet are together, the soles of the feet are together. Either bending forward or standing up. Great. Let's come into downward facing dog. Spread the fingers of your hands wide open. Shoulders away from the ears, pull your belly in. Inhale your right leg up and bring the right hip on top of the left. Opening the hip here, lifting through your right knee. And lower down, pigeon. Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. King's Pigeon Pose. Looking up, keeping the rib cage lifted, lower down. Breathe. Focus on your exhalations here. Keep your right foot flexing here. Keep your hips equal distance from the floor and breathe into your right hip. slowly. You can deepen the pose by walking your hands a little further in front of you and lowering the chest, straightening the spine, elongating the spine more. Let's come back up and grab the left foot in. Bring your foot in. You can go into a back bend here. If you're familiar with this pose. And coming out of pigeon into a 3-point downward facing dog. Drawing circles with the knee and switching sides. Lifting the left leg up, opening the hip, lowering down, preparing for pigeon on the left. If you have more time, feel free to hold these poses longer today, depending on your schedule. Keeping the ribcage lifted and the spine elongated, you can lower down. Breathe. Make sure your hips are equal distance from the floor. You're not rolling onto your left side here, lifting the right hip away from the floor. Allow your mind to focus on the breath. I'm deepening the pose halfway through by walking the hands further away from me and lowering the chest. My hips are not moving. I am keeping them equal distance from the floor. If I'm gonna deepen the pose, I'm still gonna keep the hips steady and level with the floor. Flexing the left foot. Great. Slowly come back up and you can reach back and grab your right foot. Stretching the quadriceps here. The back bend is optional only if you're familiar and practicing this pose in your practice. Great, push back into a 3-point downward facing dog and draw a few circles with your left knee. Step it back down. Spread the fingers open, downward facing dog. Lower the knees down on the floor. Bring your legs in front of you. And lay back down. Coming into plow pose. For plow, walk the elbows closer to each other, bringing the chest in towards your chin. You can hold your lower back with your hands. Let's grab the big toes with the hands and roll out of this pose. Coming into a wide-legged forward bend. Great. We're done with the stretching. You can come into an easy seated pose. Bring your hands over your knees. And let's bring them over the head, over the third eye, over the heart in prayer. And let's bow to our hearts for their forgiveness, compassion, and love. Namaste.